Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Thursday, June 2nd to order. We stand.
To the flag of the United States of America, for which stands one nation under God, indivisible.
Ask everyone to just double check their phones or any electronic devices that they're on vibrate or off. This meeting was duly advertised in the LND on December 1st, 2021. The executive session that was held, we had announced at the end of the last Board of Supervisor meeting. That was for personnel related to the manager's position. We did have one meeting that was held on 5/31/22. That meeting was a personnel meeting that was for interviews for the township manager position. Okay. Past meeting minutes for approval. We actually have two sets, so let's look at these separately, gentlemen. We have one for Thursday, May 19th. Let's do that one first. Maybe changes, corrections, anything else?
Make a motion to approve Thursday, May 19th, 2022 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes.
And I will second that. So we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. The motion carries. Okay, then we have the special meeting minutes from Thursday, May 26th. That would be the special meeting for the roundabout. Any changes, corrections, anything there? So I will make a motion to approve the Thursday, May 26th special meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Okay, action items, land planning and engineering.
First item is Wabash Landing Phase 3, which is the final phase, final plan. What's being requested of you tonight is actually just to authorize a member of the board to sign the sewage facilities postcard exemption form for Wabash Landing. It's not, the plan isn't before you tonight to take action on. So I know you've got a lot of documents in the packet, but it's actually just that sewage facilities postcard exemption.
And you weren't expecting anyone to.
No.
Okay. What is the wishes of the board on that?
I make a motion to authorize a representative of the Board of Supervisors to sign Section 8B of the depth sewage facilities postcard exemption for public sewage service related to the Wabash Landing Phase 3 final subdivision plan when received with the associated concurrence from East Cocalico Township Authority.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions on that? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries.
Okay, next we have 125 South Muddy Creek Road, the revised final land development plan that you had conditionally approved a few meetings ago. The first motion pertains to the amount of financial security, which is $1,204,251.75. That's a cost opinion that's been approved by Becker. But, and I don't know if this is normal procedure, they wanted you to acknowledge that by one motion.
I mean, that might be because that's a greater amount than the amount of security that's being held.
Yeah, considerably, but I think
Considerably, yeah.
the timeframe from the
Yes.
original cost estimate is what accounts for that, because this plan was originally.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, the cost opinion that it has been held was from at least 10 years ago or more.
Yeah,
It's back in 09.
Beg your pardon?
Back in 09.
Yeah.
Okay, and we didn't expect anyone for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will make a motion to acknowledge the required amount of the financial security to be established for the revised final land development plan for 425 South Muddy Creek Road in the amount of $1,204,251.75 per the approved construction cost payment prepared by DMA dated May 6, 2022 and revised May 25th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any questions about that? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none? And that motion carries.
And then the next motion also pertains to that same project. As some of you probably know, in 2009, the plan was approved by the previous developer named Cason, and that was the financial security that was posted back then. The project never got built. And then Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority purchased the property in 2018. The bond or letter of credit, I guess, that was being held for the original Cason development was released, and Laxwama posted a replacement letter of credit in the same amount as that original cost estimate. So now that we will be we have a new developer and getting new financial security for them to build the project. This motion is to authorize release of the letter of credit that we're still holding for Laxwama.
The previous owner.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion for that one.
Yes, I'll make that motion to authorize the township to release the financial security currently being held by the township in the form of a standby letter of credit previously issued on behalf of LCSWMA by Fulton Bank. It's a standby letter of credit number STB 73 for the preliminary final land development plan for Cason Associates upon the current applicant for the subject property at 425 South Muddy Creek Road Associates LLC, first establishing the required financial security and recording the revised final land development plan for 425 South Muddy Creek Road to the satisfaction of the township/township solicitor.
And I will second it. So we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, Alan Maxwell, what is the intended use of that property? Did the developer say?
It's a warehouse. It's exactly the same building, same plan as the plan that was recorded. It was actually recorded in 2009. So it's about 125,000 roughly square feet.
Refrigerated warehouse or dry?
No, it's well, it's not being built as a refrigerated warehouse. I don't know if they have any tenants yet for it, but it's exactly the same. And it's the property that used to be a long time ago owned by Acme that's across the street from the Acme warehouse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, current use is dry storage that we have.
and I would just note that I'm waiting to get a draft of the letter of credit to approve that before we would do the substitution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion second. Any other questions? Yeah, motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Sharon, is there anything else on that end?
No.
Okay. So one of the other items we have here is the Cocalico High School Football Team Community Service Project. That's for trash on Lesher Road. So Casey Kirshner from Brecker Engineering and the Cocalico High School Football Team has contacted us for an additional community service project. In addition to some tree planting that they're going to be doing, that they did on April 23rd. They are proposing removing trash along Lesher Road. Since the roadway is a township roadway, it has high motorist visibility, has relatively low volumes, and it's got a lot of trash and debris along the sides. The date of the activity right now is scheduled for the morning of August 11th. Brett Hoffer confirmed that this date works for the road crew and the department, and they'll provide trash bags for the volunteers. The road crew will also pick up and dispose of the bags and the trash and the debris that they collect during this cleanup process that they're conducting. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great way to get the kids involved in their community. I think it's a win-win for many, many aspects. It also helps more camaraderie among the football players, teamwork. It shows them a little bit of what it's like to be responsible for your community. I think it's a fantastic idea. So a little bit out of line here, out of order, but any questions about that project? Okay. So what I would like is, I would propose a motion that we go ahead and allow them to do that and the scheduled time, with a scheduled date of August 11th of 2022.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and again, I'll just ask any questions at all.
Actually, from me.
Yeah.
Normally in these kind of circumstances, you know, having a roadway, there's a certificate of insurance supply by someone. Does the school have that to cover this activity?
They would have to provide that to us. That's what we've always done. We approve the event and then they provide all the appropriate insurances and everything that we've asked for. And then we file it with Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just double
I'll
checking,
communicate that to Casey.
just double checking, make sure that gets
Mhm.
done. So, okay, that's all I got.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, and that motion carries. Okay, the next one we have up is the LERTA program extension. I would like to table this one. Personally, I had a crazy week this week. I did not get time to review that one in detail, and I apologize for that.
Solicitor check that out. Well, is there any questions you could ask her?
I didn't prepare it, Matt Green prepared it, so I'm not sure I can answer. any
Yep,
questions.
fair enough.
Okay,
Fair enough.
and if you do have any questions, you can contact him, or
Okay.
I will then read it, I didn't read that one.
Okay, thank you. That's fine with me.
Okay, Gaiman School Road Bridge, the draft ordinance that we have for Gaiman School Road.
What you are doing is just acknowledging that you have it, and if acceptable to you, authorizing that we go ahead and set a hearing date and do public notice of the date the hearing would be. And I think you were looking at the July 7th, I believe it is. I believe it's the July 7th. Yeah,
That's right.
the 7th.
So do you want a motion for that one?
Yes. Because you have a motion to set the hearing date
Set the
and
hearing
to authorize the solicitor to publish notice of hearing.
Okay, I will make a motion to set the hearing date. To authorize the township solicitor to set the hearing date and to advertise the hearing in action for the draft ordinance for Cayman School Road Bridge.
Yeah, I'll second.
Any comments or questions on that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. The motion carries. Okay, East Cocalico Township Employee Manual. This is the manual we've had for quite a little while now. We've all had, I think we've had plenty of time to review. Any questions, comments, gentlemen, ready to act on that one?
I am.
Lorenzo, you okay with that? Right, so I will make a motion that we adopt the revised East Cocalico Township Employee Manual Policies and Procedures dated June 2nd, 2022.
And I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Motion and second for the revised manual. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. That motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
How many years?
I did just have one quick question on that, and it came to me just now. I apologize for the delayed response. Alan Maxwell.
Thank you.
Is that viewable somewhere where we can see what the policies and procedures are? Or do we need to do a right to know on that?
You know what, Mr. Maxwell, that's a great question. I never thought about that.
Because we've had a lot of discussions and meetings about needing to get them updated and
Right.
reviewed and revised. I'd like to see what the revisions are.
That, and, well, it's not the revisions, that's an employee manual. for
Well,
East
but yeah, I'd like to see what the policies and procedures are.
Well, that one I have to ask.
That I'd have to check on. I'm not sure that that's documented subject to right to know. Or subject to public disclosure.
Okay, thank
Or
you.
if it's an internal operating document. We'll have an answer for you at the next meeting,
All right, thank you.
okay?
Yeah, it's a question we've never been asked.
Right. And that's one employee document that I've not been asked about as well.
Thank you.
That was 2 years. by the way.
Okay, Reamstown Pool, private group rentals, revised rates. So we now have from the Reamstown Pool, we have the revised rates for the rental rates, and for 75 people or less, it's $127 per hour. Township portion of those rates is $75 an hour. 76 people or more is $149 per hour. Township portion is $85 per hour. And those are the rates.
I guess the township portion is the money received by us. Is that?
That is correct.
That's correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that. No, so that's the background behind that one. That's the one we've been working on. So do we have a motion for the group rental rates? Yeah, for the motion.
I make a motion to adopt the revised 2022 private group rental rates for the Reamstown Pool as follows. 75 people or less, $127 per hour. Township portion will be $75 per hour. 76 people or more, it'll be $149 per hour. Township portion will be $85 per hour.
These are the 2022 rates. So I will second that motion. Do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
So Edward Bacalatis, so regarding these.
I'm sorry, Edward. I can't hear you because that fan's on.
Okay. Edward Bacalatis, regarding the pool groups, do the pool groups have to provide their own insurance? Or is it something that, is it a case by case? Or is it something that the pool or the township is covering?
That's covered under the way that was done, that is covered under our insurance.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Okay, next item, Stony Point dog update. That's your details.
This is rubber, man. I grow crops. I buy a lot of tires. Yeah, all right. Apparently the Gaga pit is a little short on rubber up at Stony Point Park. Needs more. And we have 2 different quotes for rubber put in there. Basically looking at, what's that, 100 bags? 200 bags of rubber, 40-pound bags. 40-pound bags. And the 2 different options are just, one is just a black, and the other one is different colors. It's black and it's royal blue and forest green, cocoa brown, terracotta red. This rubber mulch exceeds all ASTM standard F1292 and is ADA compliant and IPMA certified. Delivery will be by tractor trailer. Large turning areas required for the tractor trailer. 2,000-pound pallets will be unloaded. So the 2 different options, totarized is $2,996. And other quotes, $2,196. So those are the 2 options we currently have for the rubber for the Gaga. So what is your choice there, gentlemen?
I say rubber's rubber. And I think they have black on there already. I'd say just stick with the black one. That way we don't have colors of the rainbow over there. Save $800. That's my opinion. I make a motion to purchase 240-pound bags of Play Safer rubber mulch black from Rubber Cycle at a cost of $2,196 as per the quote number 201308.
I will second that. Any comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Steve Brubaker. So will the football team be unloading this? Sounds like a great project.
Gotta ask the football team.
You gotta get insurance for that.
I think that's to be delivered to the road crew.
Or just joking. Just kidding.
I did that at my house. That wasn't fun.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. So the Reedstown Pool speakers, we had in our budget renovations to the Reedstown Pool. Part of the Reedstown Pool renovation budgets included the speakers that were at the Reedstown Pool. There was a lot of complaints relative to the sound quality, intermittent ability of those speakers working and so on and so forth. Okay. So it was a budgeted item. It's one of the things that we had looked at. So we do have a quote there for 2 outdoor JBL speakers. You wanna go through that?
Yeah, it's from Tyler Victorine Electric for $1,100. He made a note somewhere in the quote that if wiring has to be replaced, it will be slightly more. He won't know until he gets into it. So the quote before us is for $1,100. And, I'll make a motion to contract with Tyler Victorine Electric to supply and install 2 outdoor JBL speakers at the Reedstown Pool at a cost of $1,100.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, any comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so woody waste, yard waste, the chipping and the removal. This is something we do annually. And it's time to remove the woody waste pile, the pile that's located behind the township building. The pile was last mulched back in September of 21. And the pile is at the point now in terms of height where it does have to be removed. The cost in September to mulch and remove this material was approximately $5,450. Township, we have budgeted $12,000 for these services in 22. That's what's in our budget for now.
In case it has to be done twice this year.
Correct. Yeah. We weren't sure if that was going to be needed or not. So the funds are available. And this is something we do need to do. So that's the background. What is the wish of the board?
I'll make a motion to authorize the township roadmaster to contact Martin Mulch to remove, chip the woody yard waste pile at the township's woody yard waste site.
And I will second that, but I will do that with question. In the past, Zager Mulch had been contacted. They said they were no longer able to do that because of a tree disease or something, wasn't that? And I don't know whether that's still relevant. They were doing that at quite a reduced price according to Martin Mulch's last number of bills. So I wonder whether we ought to have the roadmaster contact Zager Mulch just to make sure it's still relevant that they're not able to do this.
Good question. So then do we withdraw the motion? Yes. Let's get that information first.
Alan, what was the cost on it too? It was quite a bit cheaper when they were doing it. Yeah. So I think it's worth making a phone call before we jump into this. Or maybe we could change the motion.
Yeah, we can withdraw the motion.
Withdraw it.
Yeah.
Cheers for those.
Okay. All right. Let's do that then in order to just make sure there's no other option.
So we're clear that we're withdrawing the motion because we want to contact you.
Zager Mulch, just to make sure they're still not an option. All right.
It's likely that prohibition is probably still in place.
You think so?
Originally, it was probably from the ash before, it was black and white ash trees. And now it's also a problem with the lantern flies.
So you see that, is that a definitive answer that's a no-go for them, or?
No, I would go ahead and check into it, but I think it's unlikely that they're gonna be able to carry it over a county line. So it's no prohibition.
Okay. Yeah, it's puzzling in a way because, all of southeast Pennsylvania is dove ash borer and lanternfly. Why going across the county lines would be relevant, I'm not sure, but we can find out.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Garner, I guess I'm curious, how can one mulching company do it and another mulching company can't?
They're not crossing county lines.
Ziegler Mulch is in Dauphin County.
There's something relevant to the Department of Ag about crossing county lines. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. So, department reports, chief.
Good evening. I only have one thing tonight. I brought the check, or the large check along, look over on the side over there, had it propped up. So on May 21st, at the, excuse me, Four Seasons Open House for their new expansion, all the fire departments and the police department were each given a check, a donation for $3,000. We have been talking in the department for a little while, researched a program called Project Lifesaver. And it is a program that some departments have, state police have it, I think in Holland. And there's some others, West Lanphier. And basically what it is it's a system or a device that can track somebody who's wearing a bracelet. So basically it's geared towards people with autism or the elderly, maybe having dementia, that tend to wander. So Project Lifesaver will reach out to these individuals upon a recommendation where they can purchase a bracelet, and if the person's wearing the bracelet and wanders that day, we can use this device to track them relatively quick. So the cost of that is approximately what the donation from Four Seasons will cover. So I reached out to Four Seasons, and when we get the program up and running, we'll do a press release with Jason Hollinger, the CEO and president of Four Seasons, thanking them for their generous donation, and we are going to use that $3,000 for Project Lifesaver. So I'm not exactly sure on a time frame. We've reached out to them. We need to have training, but we will be applying that and getting Project Lifesaver, and then we'll do a big press release. And officers will have some kind of information, either pamphlets or business cards for those families we come in contact. We can give that to them and get them set up. And if the family is in need, I believe that they can, there's grants out there that Project Lifesaver can work with them to get that. We think it's a really important program, and thankful to Four Seasons for the donations.
Yeah, that's been a relevant issue in the community.
It has.
Several times, hasn't it?
Yeah, and what we'd like to do is, as long as the people are wearing the bracelet, and they do start to wander, family calls us, as long as they're not in a vehicle or something like that, we hopefully can find them pretty quick. So, so that's all I have tonight.
Any questions for the chief? Okay, thank you, chief. Okay, community development.
I handed out to the public notice for the upcoming zoning hearing board next Wednesday, the 8th. There are 4 hearings on the agenda. One of them is a continuation of the special exception hearing that was started last month at 1 Sharp Avenue for in-law quarters. Second is an application for a variance front yard setback variance over at Wabash Landing. There's one property that is owned by the original owners, the Kreiders, and it's not part of that village overlay zoning, so the underlying setbacks apply, but the lot is constrained by a lot of things, so they are unable to get the house on the lot without having to sit that variance. So that's the next one. We also have an application for a special exception approval for a boarding and breeding kennel at 1690 Creamer Mill Road. And we have a request for approval of special exception for a potential tenant at the Black Horse Warehouse building. It's not a use that neatly fit into any of our use categories for any zoning district. So they are putting themselves under a recycling station. This is the company that I probably bored everyone to death with this, but they actually have found a way to recycle number 5 plastics, which are actually not, they have no market value because of the toxic plastic that's in them. And this company, which is based in Florida, has figured out that a lot of very, very smart people, they figured out a way to process this number 5 plastics so that it's made, the toxic aspect is removed. So they have 2 plants. One is under construction in Ohio and the one is in Florida. This is not that. This is what they call a prep facility. It involves bales of the number 5s coming in. They wash it literally with water, wash it. I think probably they break it down into any smaller chunks and then it goes back out down and it gets shipped down to their facility in Florida for that portion of the crop for the purification and all. So this is just to wash the plastics. As you can imagine, this does not neatly fit into any use category, so they're requesting a special exception to allow them to do that. That would be the whole facility, so it wouldn't, be more like a processing or manufacturing use than the warehouse use that was originally contemplated there. Do you have any questions about any of these concerns?
There's a question about, yes, ma'am.
Sharon, Susie Mackley. The first thing that you referred to on Sharp Avenue, did you refer to in-law quarters
Yes.
and a hearing?
Yes, it was actually brought as a special exception approval request, which apparently is how these have been handled. The zoning hearing board last month, and it was continued so that a variance could be added to the request. There was discussion about possibly what they wanted to do, needing a variance. And so they couldn't act on it that night because there had been advertisement for a variance. So it was continued, it's been re-advertised for the special exception plus a variance if it's determined that it's needed.
So are you saying the zoning for Sharp Avenue does not allow for in-law quarters?
I gather that in-law quarters have been handled as special exceptions for any place that they have. I don't think it's unique to the zoning district.
I think you need to revisit the zoning book because my recollection is, because I was dumbfounded, that it's only allowed in certain zonings, which is ludicrous.
Well, I don't know whether
It's really not for discussion here,
Yeah.
but we should discuss it because,
there is a question.
Lancaster County, the state, everybody wants children to be able to accommodate their aging parents. That shouldn't be a zoning issue.
So
Echo housing is different. Echo
is
housing is not in-law quarters.
right.
And the township has not distinguished between that. I've seen it before.
The applicant actually applied for the special exception under Echo Housing as one of the possible.
Echo housing means you want to build a second house on the property.
I understand that. There is a question as to whether or not the variance or frankly, the special exception is even needed, and that is probably going to be addressed at the zoning hearing.
That's all, I mean, that's.
I
as
mean,
much as we
I
say.
can, you know, it's possible that there's language in the zoning ordinance that really allows that type of arrangement anywhere as a dwelling unit, but that has to sort of get fleshed out a little bit.
I'll
That's
talk
what,
to you afterwards.
that's what they're gonna look at, the zoning hearing board.
Any other questions? The other items I have, we discovered recently that the most recent document designating spending limits for staff and members of the board of supervisors and so forth is outdated and, for example, doesn't include my position. So I'd like to, I don't think we're ready for that tonight unless you want to set limits now, but like to have spending limits formally designated so there's no question as to how much someone can authorize without getting, board approval.
So what we should do with that is, there's a document out there now. That document does need to be amended
Right,
or altered.
right.
Okay, so it needs to be amended. I think what we should do is maybe at the next board meeting, if you can come with a proposal on
Sure.
that amended document.
Yep.
With your proposal and some concepts and ideas as to how we can amend that and the best way to do it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And then the next item I'd like the board to consider is having a part-time, most likely seasonal employee in my department, probably a student for some time, if it's not a time, to do data entry and that makes it sound very simple, but our records are in pretty poor shape. We have hard copy records all over the place. We've got some documents in digital format in different places, and it really creates a big problem. We're unable to locate things. We are able to locate them. It's taking a gigantic amount of time, which is just wasted resources. And you'd be surprised how often we need to locate projects or information going back. We do not have building permits digitized. I just started as I was able to digitize the zoning hearing board files. We have a better system for subdivision land development projects, but pretty much everything else, sewage permits, none of that stuff is digitized at all. And that's really not great. You don't have any robust property files at this point. We do have a project, or I guess it's considered a platform called Permit Manager, which is a little bit of a misleading term because it does way more than that. We pay an annual subscription for that, and that's what is used to issue building and zoning and any other types of permits. But it also is a great document repository for anything property specific. It has no limit in terms of how much data can go on there because it's cloud-based. So not looking to reinvent the wheel. We don't need another document management program or anything like that. It's not clogging up the server, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be pulled together that's already in digital form and mostly that's not, that really needs to be pulled into a digitized format. That we don't have anything even remotely organized is really problematic. So none of us have the time to do that if, wouldn't want to pay us for that anyway,
So,
at our rate. So I'd like to get an employee to work, doesn't have to be any specific hours really. Again, during the summer's great. We will have the desk and computer that the zoning officer is currently using 2 days a week, but once we get into our new company, that will be free at all times. So the tools are already there. And this is something that, the person's gonna have to be very accurate, kind of sharp, because they need to be able to think for themselves about where things go and all that, but we really need it. So I'd like the board to consider, whether we can go ahead and do that. I think Judy had thought possibly that could be under ARPA money if it's not a long-term ongoing project.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, because Judy had just sent an email.
Okay,
Judy Loomis, our financial administrator, she had just sent an email real quick today related to the possibility of an intern for some things that she needs on her end. So the question I have is, are you thinking along the same lines of like an intern?
no,
Okay.
interns want to have like for it to be an internship, they should be getting something out of it aside from learning how to do data, entry skills. And sometimes if it's meant to be like a formal internship with a high school or, something like that, they want you to have a set program and it have some value, for example, in something that field that the people, are interested in. This is data. This is scanning things. This is moving things. This is not, in my opinion, it doesn't have any value as an internship for a student. I would not want to pose that as an internship. So it's probably a good idea for a student, but doesn't necessarily have to be a student.
So my initial thoughts, gentlemen, on this are, I think what I'd like to see, Sharon, is we've identified where we have a deficiency, which is great. Not great that we have a deficiency that you identified. What I'd like to see is an outline in terms of what you specifically think roles and responsibilities for the individual would be.
Right. I mean, I did put my thoughts down. Mike had asked me to do that, so I did. I did lay that out.
No, yeah, I saw that in there. But if it's not going to be an intern or a college intern, or
well, it could be an employee, but it has no value for an internship.
okay.
So I don't want to call it an intern. We need to pay this person. And I think Judy's thought is if it's an internship on her end, the person would still be paid. I don't know. So I don't know what rate.
You can go either way. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, this is, on some level, it requires, again, somebody to be accurate, dependable, think, but it is still kind of grunt work, they're scanning documents, retrieving them from the shed at Public Works garage and scanning them. It's not.
It's a data management person on an entry level.
Yes.
It's a data management on an entry level
Right.
for municipal.
Right, it's just work that needs to get done, so I don't think it's appropriate for an internship.
Okay, no, that's fair, thank you.
For reference, Judy is with us on Zoom.
Thoughts?
Okay, well, when I was going through the list of bills today, I had a conversation with Judy about this and what her thoughts are too for the ironstone that we already committed to for the other records. She's done some groundwork on that already in the Cocalico School District. She contacted guidance counselors, and there was 3 young ladies that were recommended to her for that purpose. It was her thought that she needed 2 of them, and that there would have to be a choice made between them. Her proposal was for
clarification, that's not for Sharon, that's for
Judy with the ironstone records. And she had proposed paying $15 an hour, and it would be available, I guess, through the ARPA funding. And Judy, if you're on and you'd like to comment further, did I get all those facts correct? Yes, no, or maybe.
Judy, you'll have to unmute so us to hear you.
Farmer technology.
She would also stay about 15 to 20 hours a week.
Part-time work. Correct.
So here's what I propose, because on Judy's, we can't vote on it tonight or do anything because it's not on the agenda, okay? So let's table both of these to the next meeting. That'll give us time to think it through, get any extra data you might want to have, or Judy may have.
I think
I
I'm
think
not trying to undercut you here, but I felt that based on some of the rates that are floating around in part-time jobs out there, and the general community, that $12.50 would, I think, hopefully get me what I'm looking for.
Many young people get more because
To be a
lifeguard
chief
lifeguard at the pool.
really. Now, bear in mind, this is not in first working conditions. They have to be willing to sit in a
Well,
chair
this
for a
is-
long period of time.
And Jeff, the way I look at this is an entry level
Sure.
into a possible career in municipal government. So it gives them a real nice experience even for a resume.
Part of Judy's concern was that, and it's too bad that we didn't have this at the previous meeting, with school being out soon, that, these youngsters would be getting other jobs and would become unavailable if we were to delay too long. It does put us kind of in a spot because it hasn't been on the agenda, so.
I think there, from what I'm seeing from just sort of my stepson, the kids that I know, that there are, a lot of them are not able to pick up tons of hours in one place, so they are looking to do a second job. So that was my thought, that, it may be that
Availability will be there.
we could get, and especially for my thing, is totally flexible in terms of hours. So if somebody's got, all kind of a wacky agenda at one place, they can work any combination of hours, doing my tasks. So I'm hopeful that that is not going to be a factor that, we won't have anybody available,
Okay.
but we don't know yet.
Okay.
These would have to be advertised positions. We have to post.
Okay.
Judy is unmuted now. If she speaks, we'll be able to hear her.
Okay,
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay, my apologies. I'm at a restaurant with my family. I had to get to a place where I could talk. So I have run internship programs before when I was at the county, and most of them were unpaid. And we were very successful in finding great candidates to fill positions using that internship program. And as we all know, it's very difficult to find people for government positions these days. That was my initial thought with this program. Kind of my second thought was, getting the assistance we needed to do the record retention project and to get coverage for the front window while people are on vacation, that type of thing. Also because we put out to hire people for these positions, and we didn't get any applications because of the job market right now. So that's why I was very interested in, starting this internship program. I do have 3 candidates that were suggested by counselors at the school district. They are looking, one person in particular has a job, and she wanted to work as many hours as she could because she's heading to college in the fall, but she would prefer to do this internship because she is going into engineering, and she was very interested in our the zoning department. So I would really like to get back to her to let her know if this is something that we are planning to do, so she could let her current employer know, what hours she would be available over the summer.
Yeah, Judy, we can't vote on that tonight, okay?
Okay,
The only thing we could do is give you our personal opinion individually about the concept.
Sure.
Okay, I think the concept's a great concept, on both sides. It's one of those things that, what I think I would like to see in writing, we have it from Sharon, but on your end is just a concise, quick roles, responsibilities, hours, chain of command in terms of how that's gonna work,
Okay.
okay? And we can go ahead and tackle it at the next meeting.
Okay. So,
Right, that's
your
just my-
feeling is that it's a good idea and it's a positive thing?
Yeah, I do as well, Judy. Anything that helps us get ahead of some of these records and the boxes and gets the Ironstone project moving along at a quicker rate is good. We had talked about the deterioration happening out in the shed,
Yeah.
where the records are not holding up well because they're not climate controlled. So, you open a box and you find things are not good. So anything that helps speed that up is a good thing.
Okay, I will put something more formal together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, MS4, Ken.
Yes, most of what I'm doing, since the last meeting has been getting inspections set up, trying to do them. Some time is spent getting the sound system set up here. A pair of wireless microphones they're using, and then there's a Bluetooth speaker under the table in the middle. Seems to be working pretty well. Past the problems with that for now on the meetings that are away from the township building.
Thank you. Any questions for Ken? Ken?
I'd like to add a couple things about federal funds that are available out there. I had a discussion with Ken. He had sent an email quite some time ago to the board and, about projects or something we could do around the township to try to take advantage of the funds out there before they're gone. I know Ken had mentioned there was one place that put in for 27, what was it,
That
million?
was the Lancaster Clean Water Partners for a large number of projects. They put in for 27 million.
That would have took a nice chunk out of that. I know we have a couple stormwater issues when it's raining and things flood. We have one right outside the building there at the township.
There are several different points in the township where we get roadway flooding during some of the heavy rain storms that we have. One of them is, like mentioned, right from the township building, which brings the floodwaters up and across the lower driveway to the police station, which is not really a good thing. And that could use fixing, and it would also give us some MS4 improvement there for the stormwater there. Maybe do something related to stormwater quality in addition to just stopping the flooding at that point. I believe on White Oak, there's another place that it floods, and there may be a couple more that I'm not aware of at the moment.
I had mentioned for you to possibly get together with the roadmaster, get a list together. We'll get a project, get a cost for us, and that way we can at least discuss it before it's too late. I think there are things that probably ought to get taken care of if we can.
Right.
And at the time you had requested, you had expressed your concern. It could take up a little bit of extra time.
Right.
That's why I wanted to bring it up and discuss.
Somebody needs to sort of manage this project if it's gonna happen. I don't know how much time it's gonna take. There could be more of my time than just under the standard hours a week that I'm working now. Presumably, if that was the case, the ARPA money probably would be able to cover that too, I would think. My work on that project. So that was another consideration there. I'm willing to do the work of organizing that, keeping it moving, and trying to get that happen as soon as possible before those monies are already spent.
So I assume if the board's okay with that, we can work on trying to get that data for us sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Personally, I think I've been talking about that since budget time last year. You know, to see what it takes, what's involved, you know, a cost estimate. So, yeah, here we are.
So I
Still
think the
talking.
first step would be to go out with Brett and myself, and because Brett's more familiar with where it floods because his crew has to come out and barricades every time we get a rainstorm. Look at those, document that, and then probably go to Becker Engineering case for one of those. Maybe it will give us a rough idea of the cost of knowing that they can do estimating for us. The grant proposal.
So while you're getting that information too, Ken, I would say, check with Judy to make sure if that's gonna require a lot more time, or those funds that can be covered under department.
I mean, Becker Engineering. I would suspect so.
And for your time too.
Right. Well,
Okay, we have a question about.
Yes, Donna. Are you also looking at the one that flows across Wabash Road? Right down, it potentially makes Little Lake Stevens and back of my place and runs over to Line Road and floods that.
yeah, I'm not familiar with all the places in the township where
It happens every time there's a big rainstorm.
Right, Brett Hoffer, our roadmaster.
That'll be part of what he does with.
Right,
in terms of-
I'm just saying that's one of the potential spots.
Yeah, so we want to try to look at addressing as many of those as possible. So some of them, whether they get addressed or not, may be related to how easy the problem is to fix. We know that the one right in front of the township building, just the pipe diameter going under the road is insufficient. So putting a bigger pipe in there will solve the problem.
And that's possibly what that one means.
Right,
also.
and we'll have to look at each one individually to see what the solution to that problem will be. Some of them may be similar, that, you know, a bigger pipe that's going to solve the problem. There could be others where it's not that simple.
I guess where you're talking about there, the other side of the road, see the township. So that would have to be a kind of a joint effort there.
Yeah, we've already had a few years back, one youngster got caught in there. And it's not big enough to accommodate anything, but it does flow all the way down to Line Road and sometimes has a big potential problem down there.
Understood.
Yeah, I was looking at that area a number of months ago. The authority needed to do a pump test on their new well, and they were going to be discharging the water body of water, investigating where it was going. And their expectation was it was going to cross Line Road, go through that farm across the street, back over Line Road, and then through a pipe down near garden spot, next one down.
Yeah.
Your garden spot. I looked at it and discovered the water was actually running down the shoulder of Line Road. It didn't actually cross it.
Well, sometimes it's good enough.
It probably would in real severe storms, but
Yeah.
moderate storm.
Well, there has been signs put up that say Little Lake Stevens.
Thank you. Give us a little question.
Yeah, Steve Brubaker, and just to kind of piggyback on that, so my assumption would be Ken would be making a list of like trouble spots within the township.
Right, so that's Brett, the roadmaster, and I will go out get knowledge where these places are. We look at them, take photos, and get as much information as we can.
Because I'm sure there's everybody in this room probably knows of a trouble spot.
Right, so again, if people that are here or listening, if they know of trouble spots, email us. Mention where those locations are so we don't miss any that potentially can fix.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Okay, treasurer's report, list of bills.
Treasurer's report. First, general fund bank account list of bills of $10,421.25 with a starting date of May 20th to an ending date of June 1st. Any questions on the bills as presented? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
Okay, and our second payment list of bills is the electronic payroll in the amount of $142,387.30 for a pay period of May 8th to May 21st, 2022. So I make a motion to approve.
Any questions on that? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
And we have a general fund list of bills in the amount of $60,496.50 with a check date of June 2nd of 2022. Is there a question on that list as presented? I will make note that there's one large payment there. With the generator purchase that we approved, we put a down payment of half the amount on that, which took up a large bit of this general fund list of bills. So, okay, seeing no questions, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. And I'll add to that, just for clarification as well. I thought it was pretty funny, and I was asking Judy about it today. There is Vantage Property Solution. That mowing bill was $11,080. That wasn't just for now. There was a lot of bills from 2021 that they did not send. They had a change in bookkeeping and they missed a lot of bills. Judy did verify that all those invoices were not paid. And yeah, that was for a lot of 2021 and now.
As well as lawn treatments in 2021. So yeah, this is catching up from last year.
So we have a motion and second. Any questions? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Okay. Old business. A couple of meetings ago, I guess it was on May 5th, we talked about the passing of Barry Weaver, and that we really need to have a vacancy board member for East Cocalico Township, and I can explain what that was. I'll explain it again. So the vacancy board member is with the East Cocalico or the Cocalico Area Republican Committee. It's if, heaven forbid, something were to happen to one of us passes and has an accident, then we have to leave. What has to happen is we have to vote on a replacement. We have a period of time that we have to legally, we have to get someone in here to sit on the board. 30 days is the time frame. So what happens is, as an example, if two of us did not, the two that were left did not agree on whoever an individual would be that would be appointed, because we would be appointing a sitting supervisor. If we couldn't agree on who that would be, the vacancy board member would be the individual who then acts to break that tie, recommend someone else, whatever would be negotiated there. And that's the purpose of the vacancy board member. So on the May 5th meeting, the Cocalico Area Republican Committee, Randy Schober from that committee had actually recommended and presented that Steve Brubaker as their candidate to go ahead and fill that position. I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and appoint Steve Brubaker as the vacancy board member to replace Barry Weaver for that vacancy board position.
I'd like to add some to that. I guess in history that it wasn't really used much except for 2021, I guess, when Barry was still here. I had the opportunity to speak to him multiple times. Very nice individual. He really cared about the community. I also spoke to Craig Ebersol about the vacancy, and he expressed interest as well. I know Barry chose him for a reason when he did fill the vacancy. So I would like to table the motion for now and possibly, discuss further, what other opportunities are out there as well.
Yeah, I'm not ready to move forward tonight either. I had a different thought in mind. Unfortunately, I've not been able to follow up on that yet. But I think I'll make sure it gets done for our next meeting. So I'm not ready to move forward tonight.
Okay, so there is no second, and that motion fails. Okay. Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. Lorenzo, you mentioned Craig Ebersol. What are you gonna do when he goes to Florida every year? He's not gonna give it up. He's gonna continue to go to Florida, I know that.
So
Just your thought process is a little skewed. I think you need to think
he
about
did
it.
express that if he were to get appointed to the position, by no means he's looking to fill the vacant position himself. So I'm sure by interviewing, also if he would be in Florida, interviewing, speaking to people, he could possibly get the job done from there. But again, that is a discussion we had, and those are some things he expressed to me as well. But there's nothing written in stone. Now it's just simply my opinion. These gentlemen can have their opinion as well, and we can agree and move on. Thank you.
And I understand you have your opinion. I mean, Lorenzo or RC got the Republican committee and that was there. So Jeff has his to do. So you guys are gonna have to figure it out amongst yourselves.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So Edward McElwanis, so just to make sure, so did the Republican committee as a whole nominate or suggest for Mr. Brubaker to be appointed?
What's the definition of the Republican committee as a whole?
Everybody voted on it? Or was it just Randy giving her personal opinion, a point of view?
I don't understand your question, because the Republican committee is also a national committee.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm
No, I
talking
don't.
about the local committee.
Mr. McAnalis, I cannot read minds. You have to express the question. When you say Republican committee,
Don't
that's
talk to me
a,
that way.
that's a national
I'm
organization.
asking you not to speak to me that way. Don't speak to me that way.
I'm asking for clarification on. the
Clarification is the local GOP that makes the recommendation for an example, to make a recommendation for Board of Supervisor, which you know already. Was it that committee who made that recommendation for Steve Brubaker to be nominated for that role?
I just said it was Randy Schober from the Cocalico Area Republican Committee.
So is this Randy then?
At the last meeting, if
So was it Randy?
are
It's a
you
yes
gonna
or
let
no
me answer
question.
the question?
It's a yes or no.
Are you gonna let me answer the question? At the last meeting, if you watch the video, you will see that she presented that they presented Steve Brubaker.
They, the committee as a whole?
That
I
was,
never asked.
that was the way I understood.
Okay,
I never asked.
you didn't ask. Okay.
Did you ask?
It wasn't clarified, but they said they.
So that- Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Steve Brubaker, for a point of clarification, yes, the Cocalico Area Republican Committee, the East Cocalico portion, I guess you would say, because this pertains to East Cocalico, we met, we deliberated, and yes, they made a motion.
How come certain people didn't know about it?
I'm sorry. Gentlemen, name, please.
Edward McElhaney speaking. How come certain people didn't know about it? I'm just curious.
Such as
Well, Betty Weaver didn't know about it,
Betty Weaver was invited to the meeting, but
but she
she did not respond.
didn't know about it. Betty didn't know about it.
Again, this was the East Cocalico portion of
I'm just
the
saying.
committee,
Okay.
Kirby's and West.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Don Miller, just curious, for this appointment of a person, does it have to be someone from the Republican community? I don't know the answer, just answer the question.
That's why we have a lawyer.
Historically, it has been.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Just curious. Thank you.
That you can ask that committee themselves directly. Yeah. Okay.
One quick question. I
Yeah.
just want a clarification. Mr. Brubaker stated that we met and we voted. Are you part of the East Cocalico Republican Committee?
I am.
And did you abstain from that vote or did you vote in that?
No, I abstained.
Okay, thank you.
It would be worth it. Yeah, I mean, it would be conflict. So of course I would abstain.
We know the Republican Committee in general. our
Gentlemen.
areas had some issues with it.
Gentlemen,
That's all it is.
gentlemen,
Thank you.
thank you. No, it makes it very difficult for Lisa to do meeting minutes when conversations are going on. Thank you. Okay, so,
Under business as well, I want to inform you gentlemen, Judy invited me on Tuesday to have a discussion with Progressive Energy Solutions. So she called down to them about locking in our electric rate for 2023. We are currently at, we're locked into August 2023 at 0.05882. We were on the phone probably about 20-25 minutes going back and forth. The rate has gone up past 3 months. It has gone up to 7.078. And that was the last for this month. They proposed it last week. It would be 0.078. 2 months ago, it would have been 0.068. We have a contract August 2023. If we decide to lock in, she had sent a quote over and it was still in the 7s. And I told her to try to get us down into the 6s. And that way I would speak to the board about it to see if we can act on it and lock that rate in for after August 2023. The rate came back around 4:30 today at 0.069. With the way things are going, I think electric rates are gonna keep going up. We really have nothing to lose. I read through the contract. I asked multiple questions to the lady about early termination fees. What if the price in 2023 is 5 cents again? And she said that that's what they're there for. They can communicate it to us or we can communicate to them. We can readjust the rate in 2023 right before that contract's up. If the rates were to go down, I don't see how or why, but this is kind of just to lock something in for 2023, and it would be for a 40-month term after 2023. She did want a response by tomorrow, but if we don't give her a response, she didn't get it. Perhaps I can have her or try to lock this in for till our next meeting.
That's what we should do.
But that's where we're at. If we don't act on it, really, it could be past 0.10, and then we didn't do nothing. So I'd say we try to act by the next meeting. 1 second, I'll finish and then I'll let, 1 second. I say we try to act by the next meeting prior to losing that train that went by. Yes, sir.
Sam Weaver, you can amend the agenda by a motion. That's legal. We do it in the water authority. If you have something that's comes up just like this, that you have to act on it, and something that's time frame, you can make a motion to amend the agenda and then make your motion for that. Just want to put it to you. That's legal.
If you just announce it, make a motion now, adding it to the agenda, and then.
First.
First.
Yes. So I make a motion
To move on to the agenda,
move on to the agenda,
the discussion.
the discussion
action
of progressive
of electricity rates.
on electricity rates going forward. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
So now,
So
we have formally moved that onto the agenda.
No, you haven't voted on it. There was a motion and a second.
So any questions? So we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, that motion carries. Now you can bring that motion forward, those details.
Okay. Copy for signatures in the folder. So, Starting August 2023. So I'd like to make a motion to contract with Consultation New Energy, Inc. in East Cocalico Township for a electric rate of 0.699 effective August 2023 for a 40-month term.
We have a motion, and I will second that.
Second.
Accounts, right?
That's all the accounts. All the accounts are listed.
That's for both accounts.
Yep.
So we have a motion and second. Any questions? Go ahead and say that. That's fine.
All right, there it is. There it is.
There it is.
P&L account.
So how many are there for the public? 1, 2, 14 accounts. Okay, so that's for all 14 accounts. And those accounts. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the 14 account numbers are 0068100005, 0363665007, 0806104003, 08601460005, 2608100001, 32651110003, 36320999009, 4363112005, 5247475006, 699-452-8000, 820-710-7004, 862-703-0235, 882-603-8508, last one, 952-981-4005. And that is a fixed rate at 0.06999.
So we have a motion and second. Those are the accounts. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. That motion carries.
Thank you.
So, support for volunteers and firefighter program. Any updates there yet?
Pretty much haven't done anything yet with Mike.
No, it's okay. So we'll table that. Okay, any new business?
We should, we had a proposal coming from us, from the authority. They've been talking about needing more space in the building. They don't have enough. They're looking at a proposed expansion of the building. They put together a cost estimate of a 2-story expansion with a basement for the police to use with office space above it. They have a concept of an addition on the end of the building on the lower driveway side. Their cost estimate is $661,000. They were discussing with us who pays for what. Mr. Weems here, he's actually on the authority. Is there anything you would like to add to all of this?
Well, we're out of space, fellas.
Yeah.
Sam Weaver,
Yes.
we're out of space. That's what, and you gave us those tiles to put down, that road, and we can't put that down because you have no room to put your road down that we purchased there. But anyway, they're looking at expansion, and 3 different ways to do that. Just half of the building and then the whole length of the building. And then they were also looking at something, just building a whole building for ourselves, but they don't want to move away from the township because everything is located, centrally located right there. So that's basically what they're looking at.
Sam, just for the public's understanding too. So rough drawings here is it's an addition of 772 square feet upstairs with 772 square feet for downstairs.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
The drawing shows an 18-foot wide extension on the building with 49 foot of length. Not quite the whole length of the current building. Be recessed back a little bit on the front edge of the building. Mr. Kepley, can you use that extra room downstairs? Silly question.
It's a new building, but I don't know if that's. Yes, and then when we initially had the meeting and talked about it, I spoke about a couple of things. Detective's office is in the corner, basically underground, concrete block building with minerals coming through, painted over with sealant. I had it checked, it's not toxic, but it's something that needs to be repaired. So, with that being said, I think there's some renovations that could occur in the police department, but the extra space will possibly provide us with some locker room space or police, it's called a police break room here, but a lunch area. So we're not sitting in the middle of the squad room, the officers aren't sitting in the squad room eating lunch. When somebody walks through the front door, they can look and see it. So we can definitely use the space to update our department.
So how confident are you at $250 to $300 a square foot in today's market? I had to ask.
You don't know when that's gonna be.
Just back there laughing
You
too.
keep changing all the time.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I just got a question. I mean, if you're looking to expand from one department, I've heard other people say, when we're sitting in meetings, in supervisors meetings, we're all crammed in that room. I mean, if you're gonna expand, make it worth a while. You know, I mean, I think you should look at the big picture. If you're going, especially in this market, if you're gonna expand, you know, I think you need to, not saying that they don't need to expand. I mean, I think you need to look at it. And to answer your question, you might be okay with $200 square foot.
We're very fortunate to have our volunteer fire companies that allow us to have a big room when we have an overflow crowd. So that's, thank you for that. So,
Okay, so thank you for the initial data. Lots to think about. Okay.
Sam, what's the timetable here? What's the authority? When are you looking to move on this? Or is this something that, needs a lot
Sooner
of
than later.
Yeah.
Sooner than later, yes.
Thank you.
Another item that I wanted to bring up since our roadmaster and Judy aren't here. Brett had sent an email out to the supervisors and Mike Keshen about our trucks. He just wanted me to throw it out there, and I had talked to Judy about it earlier as well. Asked her about the federal monies out there again, or the ARPA. She said we have to use it or we got to give it back. Hopefully we don't have to give any of it back. Brett had expressed he was looking at replacing the 2002 F-550 and the 2008 F-250. Currently, the 2002 F-550 has 86,000 miles on it, he says, and that's the one that they use for salting and plowing. The 2008 F-250 is their day-to-day truck. That one there has 129,000 miles currently. Judy was going to look into if they would fall under the category as per se emergency, being that, you know, that this past winter, PennDOT had contacted a lot of the municipalities because of their employee shortage. And they had told them, be ready, you know, you guys are probably going to have to help plow some of the main PennDOT roads. He, I guess, was a little concerned of the age of the trucks, and wanted me to just throw it out there to see for discussion what you guys thought about it. I think he's going to talk about it at the next meeting with Judy on her findings. So.
They're both plow trucks, I take it.
Correct, but the first one, he says they use the salt and plow bigger roads.
I think you've been in that one in the past, Alan.
I sold it with a 550, I plowed the 250.
Is that the one that was giving electrical problems consistently, or was that a different truck?
International, they got rid of.
Okay.
The 550, the front frame sunk rust profusely.
Okay, so,
That's it.
All right.
For information.
thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, do you have anything? Should say anything else. Okay, public comment for non-agenda items. Again, please just state your names clearly. It helps with getting the meeting minutes together. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell. We know Mike Keshen's contract has expired. We chose not to, we mutually chose not to renew that. My question is multiple parts to it, if I may. A, how is the search going? Are we close to getting someone in to replace him? I'll take them one at a time and give you a chance to answer.
Thank you. So to bring the public up to speed, we did interview two candidates. As I had mentioned earlier, we interviewed them on the 31st. The candidate search, as bluntly as I can be and open as I can be with the public, it's been very, very difficult in this marketplace. We haven't had a lot of candidates submit. So one of the things we are considering and we're asking ourselves is, do we actually contract with a professional organization that will actually, for lack of better terminology, Alan, you'll understand this, you'll understand headhunters that specialize in the area of municipal. Okay. So that's one of the things we're looking at now. Now, we did, Mike is helping us out for a couple of weeks. He's available by phone, just to, he's doing that as a courtesy by phone and available for the next couple of weeks for any questions the staff may have.
And I'll let anyone else want to ask a question before I ask my second one. I don't want to hold the time. My second question is, what is the plan, the board's plan, the township's plan? If this drags on for 5, 6, 7, 8 months in this current employment environment, this could be a very long, tedious search, and we cannot be without someone at the tiller.
Again, a good question, excellent question. That is something that this board has discussed extensively with Mike. We've discussed it extensively as we're looking through these candidates and the searches. What we have done in the past is, here is my opinion. We have an excellent staff in place. They're phenomenal. We have staff that work incredibly well together. I have all the confidence in the world that, well, before I say that, let me just say, I resonate with the concern and the question that you just asked. Okay, so we have a staff that I have all the confidence in the world that they can step up and do and help each other out and do what has to be done on a day-to-day basis during that time period. Okay, we're empowering our staff to go ahead and do that. They're that good. So that's just one of those things we're just going to have to manage as we go through this process, because you're absolutely correct. This could take a while in this marketplace. The one thing we don't want to do, my opinion, and I'll let Jeff and Lorenzo speak to answer your questions, but why I'm a true believer in the one thing we do not want to do as municipality is rush into picking the wrong person. And anyone who's done HR work, anyone who's recruited or hired people understands that. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, my only concern with using the existing staff is that it's going to increase overtime. It's going to increase the amount of staff on or stress on our existing staff who are already working very hard and very diligently to do their jobs. And in my opinion, it's not fair to them to put that much extra work on them. We see Sharon's already asking for extra help. Ms. Loomis is asking for extra help. To add Mike's duties on to those, to me, is not a fair request to them. I know in the past when we were smaller, not as busy, so we're installing that might have worked. In today's environment, we have a lot going on in this township. And I personally don't think it's fair to put them on them. Has the board considered possibly using a temporary management service to help bide us over on that?
That's part, I should have mentioned it earlier and I apologize. That's part of the headhunter type package we're looking at. It's an inclusive package.
Yeah, I guess it's, you know, I feel similarly, our staff is you know, well equipped to handle what needs to be done. But it's hard to replace the 30 to 40 hours a week that Mike was putting in. You know, I never have seen anybody that gets as much done in a small time window as he does. He's very unique in that respect. He's irreplaceable. You know, I absolutely feel the bar will have to be set a little bit lower to put somebody in that position because he's just that good. So it is a tremendous loss. You know, I think that we do need some additional help in there just because of all those hours. It's a lot. It absolutely is. But the dilemma we have is that they're just not out there. You know, in the past, and I guess Alan and Doug can relate to this, you know, Ritu had a temporary manager come in for 14 months, I believe. You talk to them today, they don't have anybody. They don't have enough to do the work that they have to do, let alone somebody else to put out there. So, you know, it's one of the consistent things you see in today's job market. Everybody's looking for help. And it's no different on the municipal level. So, you know, we're a little limited in options. We really are. You know, it's not my thought that, you know, the three of us step in any big way. We as the chairman has said many times, we're just executives here guiding the ship. And, you know, I'm still a little uncertain where the ship's going. To be honest with you.
Thank you. That's my concern. We have a lot coming up, a lot going on with a lot of new opportunities coming up in the township, and to not have someone at that tiller guiding us is going to be very hard.
Let me
Find that person,
I'd love to.
please.
let me expand on that a little bit. In terms of what we're discussing right now, because this involves all of us, of course. Okay. One of the things that I have proposed is we have to cast our net a lot wider. A lot wider. I think we've been advertising in the same standard advertisement mechanisms. And I think we have to find a way to cast the net a lot wider, even across professions, even at much larger geography. I think that's what I think personally, that's what I think we need to do. And that's why getting and finding a company that can help us do that. He'll advise us also in terms of whether my personal feelings and thought process is correct.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Slim pickings out of the same box, and we keep looking at the same stuff. We have to expand.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. I'm sure you gentlemen thought about it, but and I'm not familiar with how we're allowed to use the money that the feds gave us. But I'm sure you guys thought of, you just got done talking about an expansion. You can't use any of the money for that purpose? Just a question. I don't expect an answer tonight. But, you know.
My opinion, Doug, is I don't believe we can.
I don't think so, but
I
you know,
don't
it's no
believe we
use.
can.
You don't want to let anything stone unturned either.
Agreed.
There are
We
no
can-
dumb questions, just dumb answers.
No, it's a good question. We'll double check. We'll check with Judy. I'll put an action item here.
Okay.
But I don't believe we can.
The other thing would be on the last meeting's minutes, and I was reading them, and you had already ratified them, but I have a question, and it has to do with public comment. There was a question at the last meeting asked that if a person is sitting on a township committee, must that person be a resident of the township? And according to the notes, it says Mr. Krem, who's not here tonight, stated that if the person is not a resident, but is a business person, they can sit on a township committee. I don't remember him saying that.
I think it was, wasn't he talking about the authority?
That's exactly right. That's what I remember. It was the authority, but it wasn't the township.
Transportation impact fee. Transportation impact fee committee has, some of those positions are prescribed as representative of certain professions and things.
Yeah,
and
there's
some
gotta
of them
be a
can
certain-
outside the township.
They can be a.
Yes, they don't all have to be township residents.
And it says that in the what minute or the,
It says that in the documentation, that, I believe it's the NPC that talks about formation of that type of group. There can be some, and I think that was partly what he's referring to, since he is the solicitor for that group, he's pretty familiar with that.
right. And I wasn't sure if the question was just specific to TIF or to any committee. I just didn't remember Mr. Krem saying anything in the township. I do remember his comment about the authority. But so, and like I said, you've already approved the minutes, so there's not much I can do about it, but just a question.
Well, next time he's here,
I'll ask.
bring it up.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
And it also, as Sharon just said, the traffic impact fee committee. And what would be in the MPC governing various municipal committees, boards, commissions, authorities, whatever. The MPC would state who the membership can be and would regulate where, if they have to be residents or if they have to be like a business of the community.
Thank you.
Also, the bylaws of any, if there were bylaws,
Right,
they would state also who the members can be.
right, okay, thank you.
I guess one more question. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jeff Carter, what's the long-term goal for replacing the zoning officer?
Well, we've had even less success with getting, we got no applications for this latest round of advertising for the zoning officer. And, you know, all the problems that have been described already in terms of shortage overall of employment candidates. And that's, you know, honestly, it's a tough job to fill and it's kind of specialized. So, which is obviously discouraging. So in the short term, we're going to continue to use a contracted person. I don't think you were here at the last meeting, but we will be starting with a new company to do both building code and zoning services as of July 5th. And with that arrangement, a lot of the cost of, you know, that service is incorporated into the permit fees because they're reviewing the building permit fees, your building permit, they're reviewing the zoning at the same time, and they have the staff expertise to do that. So the expectation is it's going to cut down on the amount of money that we're spending for that contracted service significantly. I will continue to do certain functions that I've been doing, for example, handling zoning hearing board applications. And in the case of violations or things like that, that would be paid for on an hourly rate with a bad basis if we wind up using them to handle those sorts of things. So I don't think that, I don't believe the zoning officer is a part-time position, and I'm still hoping that we can find someone, but at this point, prognosis doesn't really look that great right now.
Have you solicited third-party agencies or just called one and said, okay, come on, I mean, I deal with them every day.
Yeah,
And there's a lot that are able to take on more because they've lost other municipalities because they're run full time, so.
yeah, they, yes, we, back when that position was first contracted last year, the township did do that, and there are some third parties that don't provide those services. You're right, more of them do, and I know for a fact that they're having the same problems. They're having trouble obtaining those people for those positions as well, because increasingly municipalities are looking to third parties to provide those services. Some engineering firms do it, some third-party building code agencies do it. This group has become the entity providing our SEO services. They have a lot of experience covering all disciplines. So this will allow for a much more coordinated approach with, you know, with what we're doing. They're going to be functioning as the BCO and the zoning officer. So, you know, we don't have one, you know, zoning officer looking at things over here, and we have a contracted BCO over here. That has not worked very well. So you know, Technicon is the company, they have a very good reputation. So far, they've done very well as our SEO. And so we did appoint them. It'll be effective July.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Steve Brubaker. So I'd like to address an issue that's been outstanding with this board. So on April 7th, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, Mr. Carrasco made a motion to hire or have an independent third party look into the zoning hearing board practices. That motion did not get seconded. so it failed. Then Mr. Bonero made a motion to table the issue. I think he wanted, Mr. Bonero, you can speak to this. I think you wanted to speak with the solicitor about some issues, and then Mr. Mitchell then seconded it. My question tonight is, and just for context for the public, Mr. Carrasco, could you give a rationale or explanation as to why you made that motion?
Well, let me go backwards a little bit. What we're waiting for right now is council that is checking with the state ethics board to find out how we can vote on the motion that was made. And we're waiting for those results. Okay? That motion was made because there was an independent request with supporting documentation that came into the municipality related to some zoning hearing board items, zoning practices, some issues, items related to zoning. So considering the documentation that was received, the information that was submitted, I felt it was the prudent thing to do.
And then I guess the follow-up question would be to either Mr. Mitchell or Mr. Bonero. Why did you feel a cause for it to be, I guess the term was, what was it? The table, that's the word that I was looking for. So Mr. Bonero made the motion to table it, and Jeff seconded. What was the rationale for?
Like RC just said, it's ethics.
Okay. So if there was impropriety, so right now you're waiting on the solicitor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I guess, we have a system of checks and balances in our country, which is great. It's important for the public to make comment, and for you guys to also, in return, give us an explanation. So thank you for that explanation tonight. But if there has been impropriety done on the zoning hearing board, I would hope that the Board of Supervisors as a unit would want to move forward to have an investigation. And I'll use an analogy. How many of us in this room, and this isn't a trick question, how many of us in this room think that the presidential election was stolen in 2020? Okay. But how do we know that? With all certainty, how can we say 100%? There's innuendos, there's suspicions. How can we say that the election was stolen? The only way that this could be done, as far as the election is concerned, is doing a full forensic audit. So I guess my personal request to the board would be, once you hear back from the solicitor, I hope that the board brings this up at a future meeting. Because again, if there was impropriety, and if there wasn't, we want to keep the good name of the zoning hearing board. If not, there's going to be innuendos, suspicions, rumors.
I can, okay.
Please.
A request was made. And there is the potential that there could be possibly a perceived conflict of interest with some of the board members acting on how they will proceed with that request. that is what is being reviewed with the Ethics Commission to determine whether or not the members of the board can properly act on the request that was made and properly act on a determination as to how an investigation would be done, whether it would be an internal or an external investigation. And so until that preliminary question is resolved, the board, in the proper way to do it, is not acting until they can get that issue resolved. Once that issue is resolved, then step one is taken care of and move on to the next. There also may be some questions as to specifically what the particular complaints are. And there were some inquiries made and they have not been responded to yet, to sort of narrow down or clarify what the concerns are. Okay, so I know it sounds like a whole bunch of, words, but it is a question of making sure that the board is acting properly in making a determination so that down the road, somebody doesn't go back and say, well, they shouldn't have made that determination. So we, and not getting an answer as quickly as everybody might like. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell, one follow-up question for the solicitor. And I don't know if you can answer this or not. I'm just curious if that information was provided is for recent zoning decisions or things going back 3, 4, 5, 10 years.
My understanding, as far as I know, and I don't know all the details, is I believe that they were past concerns. I'm not sure that it is anything actively going on today or recent, but that they were past concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jeff Carter. Just to kind of, again, I don't think I was at that meeting, that motion was up. If I was, it doesn't matter. I guess you guys have executive sessions, and I think to kind of, with the way this whole process is going down here, following it, the way you guys have executive sessions and you talk, I would have thought you would have done a little bit more research and made sure all the facts and everything kind of, if there's questions with the solicitor, there's he said, she said, and I don't have all the facts. You get all that stuff taken care of before you bring a motion to the table that might get tabled. So it's like, okay, now you have everybody guessing, and now we're talking ethics, and we're talking he said, she said, pointing fingers, who can vote, who can't vote. I mean, you guys go in executive session, you guys talk. It's like, why wouldn't we kind of work through some of these details, go to the solicitor, make sure that we're doing all of the information, we got all the information we need, bring it up. Yeah, it still might get tabled, but at least you put all the facts on the table, and for some reason, there might be something that we can't do. I think some of the things that happen at these meetings could be prevented if we do a little bit more research behind the scenes. And we don't have to have all this back and forth. So it's just more or less a comment. But I would think, we won't be discussing this 2 or 3 months down the road here and, still don't have an answer to this thing. That's my comments.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Edward McElwanis. So, can you hear me? Because I know the fan was on last time. So, one of the things I've noticed, just being part of the organization, or as far as being a board member in a different capacity, and just hearing projects coming up, there's a sense of lack of timelines with things. And I know in some things it's hard to get a timeline on stuff. But like, for an example, like just, again, I'm not picking on anybody, like just, we need to find out where all these spots are, and we need information back from our constituents, and then, but like, what's the timeline on that? If you have a timeline allowing a certain amount of time to get all this information and then they can move forward, it's like project management 101, right? You probably do that. So, and which brings me to another point is that I've watched the videos when I'm not here, been to most of the meetings, or a lot of the meetings, not most of them, a lot of the meetings, and I haven't heard any goals for 2022. I know there was a change of guard with Lorenzo, and for years in the past, and I just don't understand how an organization or a board that acts on behalf of we the people, how you can move forward with things without having goals set in place to try to achieve them without getting solicitation from groups. So I'm just asking a question, like from goals perspective, I just don't understand. We're in June right now, and I don't know what the 2022 goals are for the township.
You know, I don't know where to start with that, to be honest. You know, we as a board are not employees of the township. We do not put in 40-hour weeks, but we put in a lot of hours that we really don't get remunerated much for. We depend on our staff to do a lot of legwork. You know, we depend on the community to provide feedback, whether it's changing an intersection. You know, those kind of things are there. And, you know, even something as simple as a generator that's, you know, been outdated for years. When the building goes off in the electricity, only certain outlets can work.
Sure.
You know, we're improving that so that the whole building will work when the electric goes out. You know, you saw it last year with a playground that came to fruition thanks to a lot of people's hard work.
But there were goals though.
Right, right.
And also, not to interrupt, but like the goals, you achieve them. These are milestones that can be reflected on and say, this is what we did as a team. This is what we did as a township, as a community, right? So it's not only just self-serving for the board, but it's also for the community too, to kind of get behind what you guys are doing, because it is a hard work. I mean, I don't envy your job or envy what you're doing. So I'm seeing sometimes what happens. But I'm saying it just, having goals that gives you something to work towards and as a team, you know, and I just don't see it.
Well, and RC makes a good comment. You know, normally budget time is the projection for the following year, where you look at certain things should be addressed, should be done.
That's where we have a lot of those comments and a lot of those discussions. It's that time period from September, late September, October, November, into December when we finalize.
Sure.
That's when we're going through those lines.
I get that. I understand. And like I said, there was a transition here this year. So I'm just asking because
No,
I ask people, like just public comment, just talking to people on soccer fields and other parents, and I'm like, yeah, try to get involved with the community. They're like, well, what are their goals? What are their 2022 goals? Like, how can I try to help? You know what I mean? And you're like, and I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's we a lot of people come from corporate, a lot of people come from different backgrounds, and so when there are not goals in place, it's hard to achieve and to move forward with stuff. So that's just my point of view.
one of the things that you're familiar with was, you know, several surveys have been sent out by the rec board.
Sure.
What do you want to see in the community? Park-wise, where should the rec funds be going?
Right.
You know, I think that's a perfect function for that kind of idea. You know, it takes, you receive feedback all the time from various constituents. Well, we want to see this, we want to see that. But you know, it kind of takes a consensus to move forward. Those are some of the situations we get involved in. And you know, once again, it's right now it's all about an intersection. You know, some people have one idea, other people have other ideas. So you know, we as a board have to kind of formulate that where we're gonna head going forward. So yeah, that's a big thing. It was a lot of conversation in the community, and you know, I think we welcome feedback on these kind of things.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Susie Macklin, Ms. Fuller. Going back to Steve's original question, just for clarity, because I'm gonna walk out of here and I'm still not clear on this. Someone handed something to the board. And the board is deciding if they can proceed with it due to a conflict of interest, or they definitely will pursue it. They just don't know which avenue to take in pursuit.
It's some combination of all of that, and I know that sounds like not a good answer.
That's why
But
I'm
before they can
confused.
make a determination as to how they're gonna, they have to make sure that they can make a determination, that they can handle it, okay? And then once they know whether or not they can act on it, then that will be when a decision will be made how they're going to act on it. So step one is, can we? Step two is, how will we? Okay? Depending on the answer from step one.
Step one is the conflict of interest, possible conflict
Possible,
of
and
interest.
that's, yeah.
Step two is,
How to address it. Okay? How to address the complaint that was brought in, okay? Be that an internal investigation, an external investigation, whatever. Before that, and as part of that whole process, there was, I believe, a request made for clarification of some of the details of the complaints, and that has not been responded to yet. And that was clarification, if I am correct, that Mr. Green, I believe, had requested that, and I don't think he has gotten a response.
I would suggest that anything that someone hands in, they felt that it was worthy of investigating. So you have to be careful, because you've got the boxes sitting up here guarding the hen house. So it would, I think, behoove the township to look at it, whether,
And they're not saying they're not going to, okay? But there are some preliminary steps that have to be addressed first, and that's what we're attempting to do.
because I thought I had heard it said that they weren't sure it was worthy to be looked at.
I can't speak to them.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just one more, Doug Mackley. Eddie, you mentioned about plan. We had a plan 3 years ago called the 5-year plan.
Okay. How we doing on it?
Don't ask me, I'm not on the board. Ask those guys.
Well,
I don't know what changed. The 5 years is still in ticking.
well, it should be brought up every year.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm on your side, okay?
Okay. The next
Yeah,
supervisor's
spent a lot of money
meeting.
on
Yes, sir.
I do have one additional question, totally off topic from what Mr. Brubaker had started here. 1 or 2 meetings ago, I think it was, a question was asked of the board in regard to some social media posts where the poster was basically saying they found information out from someone within the township. At that point, I believe the solicitor said that if it was found out that that information was leaked, confidential information coming out was leaked, it could be an illegal act. And we haven't heard anything about it since. So my question is, has the board discussed that? Have they decided to investigate that to see where that leak came from? Because the person doing the post was giving some pretty detailed information on social media in regards to pending litigation and people involved in that litigation. And since it's not public knowledge, it had to come from somewhere. And I'm just curious what the board's feelings are on that.
I don't participate in social media. Recipe for nonsense.
Just because
To
you
answer
don't-
your question, we have not discussed it.
Okay, is there any discussion to discuss it or any opportunity to discuss it among the board?
I'm not on social media.
Well, whether you're on social media or not is not the point. The fact that someone within the township apparently or allegedly has leaked information about things like that to someone in the public, to me, that's a pretty serious offense. If we have a leak within the township
That
on
individual,
confidential
if you have
information.
that detailed information, you should submit a formal complaint into the township specifying exactly who you believe. the
Was
individual
personally
is.
hoping our leadership would feel the need to look into something like that
Yes.
because it's your reputation's on the line too.
Mr. Maxwell, you just stated earlier that you're concerned about the amount of work the staff is going to have to do, to compensate for and overlap with each other. Okay? So now we're going to ask the staff to investigate social media posts for everyone that are out there or anyone who comes in with a social media post?
No, I'm asking a
Just limit it.
specific post
And I-
about specific incidents. Whether you're on social media or
You should
not,
put it- you
the
should-
ethics, the integrity of the township is at stake if
You should
someone is
absolutely-
leaking information to the public.
You should absolutely put that in writing and submit it as a complaint. If you have that level of knowledge and detail, you absolutely should.
I don't have that level of knowledge and detail of what they were speaking with, but I'm concerned that if that information is getting out to the public,
You're
when it's
implying-
confidential.
You are implying you have that level of detail, but you should submit it in writing in a complaint.
If I need to download and print that documentation in order to get the township to look into possible leaks of confidential information within the township, then that's what I will need to do.
Then
I
you
was
should do
hoping
that.
you folks
have-
would see the need to do that.
I just,
Questions answered. Thank you very much for your time.
one more, go ahead.
Jeff Garner, I mean, just that, you guys are sitting up there talking about ethics. You're sitting there talking about ethics, and we got the attorney sitting here, it's like, you guys authorized the Facebook or the social media stuff to be authorized. I would hope you guys are saying these are the executives of this group of staff that's supposed to be, you have.
No, it wasn't East Cocalico Township News.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't on township.
No, it was on East Cocalico Township News.
It's private, I'm guessing it was a private email, those are private Facebook accounts.
It's a public forum.
It's a public forum.
But,
It's not run by the township.
Not run by the township, no.
so therefore, they're private accounts. Okay. The next township supervisors meeting will be on Thursday, June 16th. It'll be at 7 p.m. It will be held at the East Cocalico Township Municipal Building. Okay. Do we have a-
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.